So we're here in Southeast Denver at my client Lindsay with Hi-Luxe Interiors. She gave us the warm welcome to come and view this kitchen that she did for a client, and I think it just turned out absolutely amazing.
This is an amazing job. So Nick, you worked on this as well.
Yes, I did.
It sounded like we had a lot of moving pieces and parts to make this come together. But when I walked in, I was actually shocked at how you put everything together with our new Walnut European Cabinetry. What an amazing job. Can you take us through what you had to do to get this project to come together?
Yeah, thank you. When the clients first hired me, their kitchen was actually oriented over in this corner.
Okay.
They had a really strange configuration, just like random appliances, and it was not functional for them at all. And they originally wanted to get rid of this post and move doors all around. And so in order to get a little bit more on the luxury side look, I wanted to keep the structural parts and not move posts or doors. So we came up with this amazing design, this huge island, so they've got more functional workspace, tons more storage, and then obviously paired it with this really beautiful walnut cabinetry that kind of gets the look that they were hoping for, more modern.
I love what you've actually done with this kitchen with the warm walnut colors, all the metal that you brought into the space as well. Really kind of ties everything in, gives it that luxe modern feel that you want. So let's walk around and give us a little bit of the details as far as this island is amazing. So let's start there.
Yeah, it is really
Definitely an entertaining
It's a big guy.
I don't know how big this is, but it looks like it's about 102 inches.
Yeah,
or so.
we basically picked the slab and then made the cabinets fit to
Around
it.
it.
So we started there and then kind of built all of the functionality
around
cabinets around it.
Okay. So, and what I noticed that was very unique is that you didn't waterfall the whole edge. You just did parts of it.
Yeah.
So it still had that kind of luxury look, but also opened up some seating around it. So that was a really nice addition there. And then as we come through here, we've got some very functional cabinetry, microwave, but then you actually kind of bookend it with some of the large pantry cabinets, and also this is a refrigerator, which you wouldn't know. So
Yeah.
this is SKS refrigerator, very similar to the refrigerator that I have in my home. Absolutely amazing refrigerator. And you actually put the panels on it too. So
Yeah.
a lot of people don't do that with the Highland cabinetry panels. You can order door panels, you can do different things to kind of offset that. And then you have the freezer drawers. That's a fridge drawer, and then the freezer there. So unique refrigerator. Love that look. And then countertops. Good veining, but not overdone.
Yes.
So it sounds like you picked this slab and that was the start of the project.
I wouldn't say the start of the project, but like as it all came together, we definitely wanted something a little bit more organic. We definitely didn't want to do quartz. We loved like this quartzite natural product to get a little bit of more of that like earthy vibe in here. I think the overall concept of what we were trying to achieve was a little bit of an Asian feel mixed with modern.
Okay.
Bringing kind of different like warmer tones, but pairing it with more of the gray tile and really tying in different visual textures as well.
And you used the red oak floor, but it looks white oak.
So that was actually existing. They had tile like halfway through this room.
Gotcha.
So we weaved in red oak and
Okay.
then restained it.
So kind of a number 2 red oak,
Yep.
but it's a light color, so it gives it that nice natural look, almost white oak look. Well, you mentioned doors changing,
Yes.
doors potentially. What did you end up doing with the
Yeah,
lock?
so this used to be just a French door with a huge frame around it.
Okay.
It didn't go nearly as high. It was like your standard height door, but they wanted more light. And then this window actually is new as well, but there was an original window here. We just replaced it with
Just
black.
replaced it with the black.
Yeah.
Much nicer, cleaner look.
Yes.
And then you actually took all of the quartzite up and actually made the windowsill, so it kind of tied everything together.
Yep.
With a nice big farm sink as well. Yeah, absolutely amazing. Really cool light fixtures. Nick, what's your first thoughts?
I just like how vintage and modern it is. I love the walnut in the Euro. It's just very a warm feeling, and I think it really complements the kitchen that you did.
Gave it a nice kind of old world feel, but very much a luxury feel as well.
It's like mid-century modern.
Yeah, mid-century modern was kind of the vibe. So when I came in, do you know what year this house was built?
I think it was early 80s, if not late 70s.
Because this neighborhood looks like that typical 70s, 80s kind of split level.
Yep.
And opening this up, throwing in some accents with the beamwork and also the columns looks very, very nice. What a difference. And then the addition of the lighting. I'm a stickler for lighting. I don't like too much.
Yeah.
And sometimes when we light the toe kicks and light the top, it really almost becomes kind of a DIA feel. But it didn't feel this way coming in here. It actually is accenting all of the features because you actually have very, very true lines with the European cabinetry. You didn't do any ornate fixtures or trim work, and then everything looks nice and clean. So. What's this?
That's an appliance garage.
Okay. So you can actually.
Yep.
Oh, so you incorporated the lift up. There you go. Get the toaster and everything off of there. Okay.
Yeah.
Awesome.
They were like the king and queen of small appliances, so we had to.
The same happens in my house. One of the reasons why I keep fighting for that butler's pantry is that the toaster oven, the air fryer, all of that stuff, it gets kind of put everywhere. I love how everything is clean and tidy here.
Yep, everything has a place. They have much more storage here than they did before.
Did they really love the change of the location of the kitchen?
I don't think that they had ever thought of doing it like that before. So when I presented the concept to them, I mean, it was like a shocking moment for sure, but I think that's why you hire a designer to just think outside the box and present you with items that maybe make you a little scared, but in the end,
absolutely,
it's worth it.
Typically when you live in a house, you get fixed on where everything is, right? So bringing in a great designer gives you the opportunity to really kind of flex the space differently and think of it as a new canvas. You're not kind of hell-bent on having it in this one location. You can stretch it out and do different things. And that's what I'm seeing, especially in these homes, especially 70s and 80s, is reinventing the space.
Yeah.
And then what I'm also seeing is it's giving a lot of additional flow for entertaining, for outdoor activities. This home has a great flow coming all the way through it. So well done.
Thank you.
So what were the challenges in this project? You don't have to be nice to us because we know we had some challenges on here.
We did. I mean, the first one that comes to mind is I didn't utilize Nick maybe as I should have. So I didn't do a site measure with you guys. I thought that I could just handle it. And where it really caught me was the sloped ceiling here.
The pantry,
that can be a challenge.
Yeah, and then the incredibly tall refrigerator that we got, which is fine. That's where we had it originally in the plan. But in order to get the crown to work, we had to
finagle some cabinets and do some different things.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
That can happen.
Yeah.
That well, we talk about it a lot. That redlining of the project, especially when you're talking with tall cabinets and you have weird things happening, columns, beams, slants, slopes, all that stuff, is really kind of bringing it together, and that can be the biggest challenges. And it can kind of help. Well, I shouldn't say help, but it causes delays in the project. So you got to work around. How was the team in working with you? So did they come to the rescue, or?
Yeah, I mean, I think we worked through it. We're there. So it took a few tries, and every time I called you guys, everybody was willing to help. It was just, it's frustrating as the clients kind of see some of those hiccups happen, but the clients who live here are just amazing people, super understanding and lovely to work with. So I think in the end, as it turned out, that it was all worth it.
It does take time. So one of the things that we like to talk about, especially in these projects, is you see things happen in kind of DIY scenarios or HGTV, and it just kind of comes together. That's not a reality. The reality is that there's going to be some pain points along the way, and it takes a village to kind of bring it together. So I've always said in all of the projects, I've been doing this for 35 years, 90% of the effort goes in the last 10% of the job, and making sure that you have a good teammate, guys like Nick and the other teammates within Highland to help you bring out product and get you done. It can make a major difference in how the project goes. Now, we're never perfect. We still have a lot to learn, but we have teammates that want to kind of be a part of it. And one of the things that we always say is that we want to help people grow their business. And if we're not a part of that, then we can't make that happen. So we'll continue to do that.
Yeah, we had originally had doors, like cabinet doors,
Okay.
all along here, like that opens like this.
So a little short cabinetry,
Yeah.
kind of backed up against other cabinetry.
Yeah, and then client opted to put this drawer bank there
Okay.
instead of the doors.
So definitely, I mean, good use of some drawer space. Naturally, the top drawer is going to be a little bit more challenging, so you've got that. Some of the things that we can see, this can be a little bit of the challenge, but it's nice to have different options.
Yeah.
Some of the things that we actually do is we'll put rollouts in these, open up doors with rollouts, and that's
Right.
what I did in mine.
Yep.
But ultimately, the panel work that you did around this island looks amazing. You accented the column with some additional walnut, and then as it transitions around, it looks amazing. So good reveals, good overall layout, and then I love having the prep sink. So
Yeah, that's a must.
yeah, one of the things that we're seeing, especially in today's kitchens, is it's not just one person cooking anymore.
Right.
Right? So we always say that you kind of fight for butt space, and it's nice to kind of spread it out a little bit. One of the things I wanted to add in my kitchen, and I didn't get that opportunity to do. So maybe
Yeah.
next kitchen.
We originally had a pot filler over the range,
Okay.
but that got cut, unfortunately.
Okay.
But I think this provides enough functionality to have, you know,
yeah.
the prep sink over here to fill that
I've
void.
always been afraid of pot fillers over the range, because if you forget it, because a lot of people turn it on and walk away, it makes a major mess.
Yeah.
And especially when you have kids or somebody else, you don't have a drain there, so it can be really disastrous. So a prep sink, I love a lot more.
All about that, yeah.
So I've been in a lot of houses, probably a third of the homes that I've worked on is due to water damage. So a prep sink is a better option.
Yeah.
So,
Noted.
for sure. And I love that wallpaper.
Yes,
So-
that's a custom mural.
Okay.
So they scale it to the size of your wall.
Okay. So it's not wallpaper?
It is wallpaper.
Okay, I was gonna say.
Custom mural wallpaper, but they do scale it so it doesn't feel underscaled or overscaled depending on, you know, what
size.
space you're putting
Yeah,
it
it
in.
looks really nice.
But yeah, we had originally, like, they wanted to do cabinetry above there, you know, to get even more storage, and I kind of talked them into that just being a nice breakfast nook moment.
Yeah, let's go over there and take a look at it. So let's talk a little bit about this space, because this was the kitchen.
It was the kitchen.
Okay, and the kitchen
Yeah.
moved over this way, and
Yep.
you really made a great kind of nook area, dining space. As I mentioned, I love the wallpaper, the scale of it that you did. You said that was a kind of a custom mural wallpaper that they do, so they can scale it. And then the built-in bench, looks like you've got some storage in there.
Yes.
And then a really unique table. I don't normally see this size of an oval table. So was this a hard find?
I mean, we have our sources.
Okay. You know where to go.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I got that part. But I think what was integral to this design was the oval, because with a built-in bench, you need the pedestal base in order for it to like really function the way it should. And then to not impede into this, you know, major walkway. So we did want something that had a little bit more of like an organic shape in order to keep the flow. But style-wise, yeah, again, it's like really mixing that mid-century modern with a little bit of like Asian touches just to get that more vintage feel.
Yes. Definitely getting that vibe in here with all the selections that you did. So great use of space. Looks like you worked well with the space planning, kept the flow to the outside. Nicely done. Overall, I mean, a huge kitchen in a relatively small space, but we've got some good volume feel with the vaulted ceilings as well. So as we were talking about flooring a little bit earlier, as you transition from the red oak flooring, you did a really neat little detail here on the floor. It's kind of a little brass or champagne. What is that, a kind of an inlay that you did?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yep, like a transition strip. Originally, like I said before, this was all tile and then it cut off into hardwood there. And in our programming meeting with the client, all of her images had tile in the kitchen.
Okay.
And it was more of this like great color paired with walnut. We kind of waffled between pulling the wood all the way through the kitchen versus pulling in some tile. And then in order to get just a little bit more detail, we did add that brass transition strip between the two.
It's funny, you wouldn't think you would notice it, but I noticed it right when I walked across it. It was a nice
Yeah,
little
same.
touch.
It was
And then
nice.
I'm seeing You've actually built in toe kick vents as well.
Yes.
So we don't have vents on the floor, so that cleans up the space. So I always think that that's the best way to handle HVAC in a home, is tuck it into the toe kicks and build around it. I didn't really even see it when I first came in, but now that I'm standing here looking in this area, I can see it. But it's an amazing use of space. Overall, your good use of paneling, how you did the soffit piece, all of that, you've pulled it flush with the doors. That's one of the things that I always look for, is everything is flush. A lot of times in European cabinetry, people will offset that and it doesn't look right.
Yeah.
So having everything flush, good transitional lines everywhere, pulling everything properly forward is the best way to get that done. So good job there.
Yeah, Lindsay has a solid installation crew.
Yes.
She works
I was gonna say, I didn't install anything, but the GC, again, it's always a process working with them on installs and making sure that they understand the vision too, so it's installed correctly.
That communication from design to installation can go off a cliff.
Yeah.
So having a great designer to be able to kind of communicate that and to make sure that the details matter makes the difference in a job, and a job well done for sure. So good job.
So we originally sold her a BMC 30, which is a base microwave cabinet 30 inches wide, and it would hold the microwave in its slot with the shelf built in, and then you have access to the bottom drawer. The reason why we had an issue with this was because this is an expensive microwave. It's, I think, a monogram, so they're not the standard microwave that you typically buy. This one has an inch thick trim kit, so the drawer wasn't opening properly. So I guess my pro tip would be just make sure that you're sending in your specs to the sales rep or whoever your client is, and make sure that you're fitting the space to actually get what you need.
Here's a great pro tip on how to make sure Euro looks correct on the installation. You can tell there's good installers on this project. All of the panels, the cabinets, and the upper soffit have great reveals. Everything is pulled forward. We're not set back. So in European, you want to have good, clean, steady lines. One of the things that you want to do is keep an eye on the reveals, how everything comes together. All the joints are hidden, and they've done an amazing job here. So great pro tip, keep it clean, keep it simple, and it'll be a nice European install. All right, Lindsay, we were actually just talking about how you were able to kind of come into this project, and there was some pretty significant budget restraints. And what we normally hear is that if you want to have a really high-end project, bring in a designer, but you were actually brought in on this project to actually save some budget. So can you take us through that and what you were able to do?
Yeah, so originally the clients, like I mentioned before, had big ideas of removing columns, and originally what they had told me is that they wanted to move the door over here because the kitchen still needed to be over there. Like we were saying, they had a hard time imagining something different. Okay. And they brought in a GC originally to give them a bid on removing this post and changing doors and windows. But then they thankfully called me and I said, like, let's put that budget that they want to put towards removing this towards your finishes and really make this feel luxury. But again, it's knowing where to source things from to get that balance between high, medium, low, and what's really going to make high impact on a design while still, being conscious of a budget, because there's no point in bringing anybody in if you can't do anything.
Right. So perfectly placing those dollars to give it in that luxe feel and saving in some areas that may be not as important in a project can really make a huge difference in your budget.
Huge difference.
And that's the power of bringing in a good designer, is to be able to figure out where the money should be spent and what the impact on the entire project will be. So you couldn't have done it any better in this particular project, and I'm sure the owners appreciate you being mindful of their budget as well.
Absolutely. I think, in order to achieve everything that we did in here, that's why Highland was who I brought in for the cabinets, to, balance that with these beautiful countertops, and just really to bring all of the project to fruition. It provided the ability for us to, achieve this look.
Yeah, pretty amazing job. Good job with the budget.
Thank you.